And here we are, guys. The map is Cloud Kingdom, and down at the bottom left part of it, we have our Protoss player from Incredible Miracle. It is First. Looking focused as usual. He's played great today. And up here, at the top right part of the map, we have our Red Terran player who all killed Incredible Miracle in the first best of 9. Can he do it again for his team? It is TaeJa.
We got some TaeJa fans out there.
A few, yeah.
It's time now for another big announcement. I mentioned before that we were going to have the GSL World Championships at IPL 5. Well, GSL is also going to have a second event there.
That's right. I know
even
what this is.
Bigger.
Can I announce it just because? Can I?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Here's what's going to also happen as we see that gateway going down. At IPL 5, we are going to have the Code S round of 8 through the finals.
The entire round of 8, the semifinals and the finals will be played live at IPL 5.
Right.
There you go.
That's going to be pretty crazy, man. I can't wait for that. So, now we have an incredibly important game to watch here on Cloud Kingdom. I mean, this is big. If TaeJa gets taken out by First, that is going to really put Liquid in a very, very tough spot right now. And even if TaeJa does win this game, wow, you didn't see that.
So good.
You didn't see it. I love how he hides Barracks. It's great. But you know, even if TaeJa does take this game, it's still again a long road to climb. The nice thing though is that Team Liquid still has another life. If TaeJa goes down, they've still got a lot of good players to draw from. So we will see what happens here.
All right. Well, First is going to make his way out. We'll see if he swings over. Okay, it looks like he did just barely pick up on that Barracks at the edge. That's actually when he was sitting up here at the top of the ramp. So, all right. Well, he knows what his opponent is up to, and we'll see what he decides to do from here on out. He sees no gas, though, and he himself, has he cut gas? No, actually still mining with 3 workers at the moment.
Yep, wants to stay safe. I mean, against a player like TaeJa, you really probably should play a little bit safer. I mean, he does have a penchant for being a little bit aggressive in the early part of the mid game, if you give him the opportunity. So I feel like a player like TaeJa would see, something like that and then try to take advantage of it. Look at this right now at the natural. First, there's actually an engineering bay going down. TaeJa being a bit annoying, trying to block that. And you know what? With a Stalker coming out first, I believe, did he make a Zealot? Or did he just go straight to Stalker? No, he didn't. Oh, man, so that's going to take a long time. TaeJa's going to nearly finish that engineering bay. Look at this. He's going to stop it at the very, very end. Yeah, a lot of hit points on that, and that is going to really delay the Nexus for I'm First.
All right, so he puts down his second gas, and probably a couple of gateways are going to follow this, and I'll imagine it's going to be a 3-gate expand, maybe with a bit of pressure as well. The question will be, what does TaeJa decide to do? He's going up to Barracks number 2 and 3 at the moment before, of course, he takes his 3rd command center. Yep,
that's right. I mean, he knows that, like you said, this is probably going to force his opponent into a little bit of early gateway pressure as well. So TaeJa, he's already got the bunker at the front. He can add on another one if he needs to. Should be able to stay safe. Now, will he add some engineering bays of his own at his base to start getting upgrades with, or will we maybe see, like we saw before, a quick rush to medevacs and then the drop play begins? There are 2 gas going down right now for TaeJa getting those refineries, so I think we're going to see medevacs fairly soon.
All right, and as we can see, the Nexus finally did go down for First, but he decided not to put down any gateways in addition to the Nexus that was coming up. So banked a little bit of resources, but deciding to produce a fair number of sentries now. So 1-gate sentry expand for him, and TaeJa, we'll see what he decides to use his gas for.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably going to be, factoring then into medevacs, unless he wants to go for some sort of like crazy old school 3 racks ghost push or something like that, which would be cool to see, but I don't think we're going to see any EMP pushes anytime soon. Roboban, kind of an interesting place for First, avoiding scans possibly, but if TaeJa runs into the natural, he's going to see it pretty easily. Wonder what the plan is there.
And looks like First was feeling pretty secure because immediately after, of course, he did know about the engineering bay block, but he doesn't think he's going to take too much pressure because he decided to put down the Robo and the robotic facility and then 2 more gateways after that, but a little bit later.
Oh, did he see the Robo? I don't know if we got a glimpse of it. Oh, force fielding him out of the base, but now the Marines are definitely going to see it. All right, well, it was hidden a little bit, but not hidden a whole lot. The thing that I'm wondering about, oh man, is he going to kill this pylon? No, he's not going to get it in time. All right.
Unfortunately not, but he'll do a little bit of damage there, but cleaned up pretty well by first, and we'll see what he decides to follow this up with. Looks like TaeJa putting down a bunker, a second bunker, I should say, for now.
Yeah, it's interesting that robo placement for first, it would suggest to me that exactly it's going to be a robotics bay for quick Colossi. A lot of times that's where a Protoss player will put it if they want to move their Colossi back and hide them a little bit for a nice 2-base timing that Terran isn't expecting. But if I was TaeJa and I saw that robo bay in that position at the natural, I'd wonder a little bit. I'd be a little bit more careful than usual, maybe.
He does have a third base coming up, so he will be able to saturate the first two very quickly. There's double engineering base as well, so he's going to emphasize on his upgrades, make sure he gets his infrastructure in place before he decides to get aggressive. So, you know, this is looking to be a very powerful army eventually for TaeJa, but he's certainly going to be at risk of, you know, some sort of a big Colossus 6 gateway push.
Well, the good news for TaeJa is that he will have his starport out, so he will have the opportunity, if he scouts it in time, to go for Vikings, to be able to match those Colossi. And there it is. The first Colossus started right now for first. And look at this. I love all the pressure that first is putting on with these Stalkers. This is so great. The reason why it's great is because it tells TaeJa that first doesn't want him to move out. That was nice
impressive.
Micro, too. Wow.
No kidding. Keeping every one of those Stalkers alive.
Yeah.
So Colossus number 1 is coming up. There's our next gateways. Gateways number 4, 5, and 6.
Yep, there it is. This is just going to be a big 2-base timing for first. And it's like I've been saying, you know, I feel like you need to take out TaeJa in the first 15-20 minutes of the game. You do not want to play a long game against that guy right there. He is just way too good.
And he's certainly going to hit pretty quick here, as we can see. 2 bunkers are up at the front, but he's trying to float over. No, I'm sorry, that's his factory, not actually the 3rd command center quite yet. But still, TaeJa needs a little while to make sure he gets everything in check. No forges are down, and first is going to be very aggressive very soon. I don't know if, oh wow, it's actually going to be 7-gate Colossus push.
This is pretty all in here for first, and you notice he really doesn't want TaeJa to know about it. Oh, but there's the scan. Does he? Okay, he doesn't see the robotics bay. All right, so he sees something building out of it, but you know, it could be another observer, who knows. But now, if I were TaeJa, I'd be really suspicious. I'd be like, all right, I haven't really seen anything out of that robo other than, like, maybe an observer or something like that. Is he going to add another bunker on, maybe?
I don't know. He does have a fair bit of forces back at home, but he's not done anything with those yet. 2 more barracks being added, so he will be up to a total of 5. His production is actually going to be quite good, but the quality of the units coming out first is just staggering.
And TaeJa has started building Vikings. He has a really good idea of what's going on now. It makes sense. He should know he has 2 more bunkers. TaeJa absolutely has guessed correctly as to what his opponent is doing, and here he comes. First, coming fast and hard with those Colossus and the gateway units. TaeJa needing to defend here. If he can defend this, he's going to be in a great spot.
All right, picks off 2 Stalkers there. Oh, and gets inside of the medevac. Only loses 1 Marine, so good control. Once again, TaeJa needs to defend these bunkers, though, starting to repair those up. He's got a pretty good line here. Sentry's getting to the front so they can start to force field out those units. But now there are 4 barracks done for TaeJa, and he's got those Vikings sitting on the high ground, picking away at the Colossi.
Yeah, that's the nice thing is the Vikings have so much range that you can just kind of hold position them above the bunkers, and the Colossi really can't fire as effectively. Look at this, a drop going into the main for first. How much damage can TaeJa do here?
It doesn't look like a lot. The Zealots are warping in now, but doesn't look like first is pressuring too much up at the front either. He's got 3 Colossi sitting there, but he hasn't done any measurable damage to TaeJa whatsoever.
Well, you notice as soon as he saw those bunkers, he started his Twilight Council. He started +1 soon afterwards, and so he's going to try to just play his way out of this. He's going to try to take a third. How many probes does he have right now? Did he continue making those? He does still have 51 probes. Okay, so he did prepare for this possibility as well. He didn't go super all in and cut probes early or anything like that. So he's not in that bad of a space to take a third.
And looks like he is going to be able to get some units warped into the main, but that's picked up on pretty quickly by TaeJa. It doesn't really take a whole lot of economic damage there at all.
Yeah, that's right. And TaeJa now with all his barracks is just producing a bigger and bigger bioforce here. He looks like he might be ready to move out. Does he have enough Vikings to get aggressive, though? That's the question.
He has 6. That's a pretty good amount,
He probably could. Yeah, I would say so.
And looks like they were able to pick off 1 Colossus, so, you know, really this is plenty of forces to be able to deal with currently with what First has on the field. +1 weapons is on the way. Looks like this medevac going to try and get away, and will.
Yep, dropping some more back into the main. That Twilight Council is actually unpowered right now. TaeJa was able to kill the pylon.
No, it's the way that it looks right now. Okay, so there's
actually it was.
There's also a little bug too. Whenever you have vision on something and you click away vision at the exact right time, it will actually cause buildings to appear shadowed. Yes, which is why sometimes if you see me observing and I hit vision on something really quick, I actually pop it back into vision again.
I could have sworn the blink upgrade wasn't moving, but clearly I'm just hallucinating.
Random tidbit about observing. So
he knows a lot. It's kind of funny, StarTale Legend actually messaged me, and he was like, so who's observing this? And I'm like, well, Kevin can handle it, it's okay. He's like, oh, poor guy. But it looks like First thinking about getting a little bit aggressive himself, but yeah, TaeJa just has way too big of an army right now. He's got enough Vikings that he's going to be just fine.
TaeJa's in such a good spot right now. He established his third well before his opponent did. He's doing pretty well on upgrades.
Yeah.
I think he has 1-1 finished. Yeah, 2-2 is on the way. Only +1 weapons up now for First. So picks off a Viking right there. Pretty good
nice
control,
move.
But he still has a big uphill battle. TaeJa's just kind of barreling down the map.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now TaeJa's the one coming with his strong army, and First needs to pull back and be a bit defensive. I really like the blinks to take out those Vikings. That's a nice little trick by First to let his Colossus live just a little bit longer, but it's going to be tough. TaeJa's going to need to break through those rocks. I don't think he's going to try to charge right up through that narrow gap. That wouldn't be the best idea. He may just go for the third here, though.
Could very well. It's a pretty wide ramp and has a lot of accessibility to it. Those are all full energy sentries, though, so he's going to have to worry about force fields at least for a little while.
Yeah.
But if he can make his way through those, he's going to be looking pretty good. Now, First certainly has options. He's going up to that Templar Archive, so we'll see Storm. We'll see Archons here in just a bit. Charge is well on the way as well. Wants to make sure that he can neutralize those Vikings whenever they are forced to land. If they're forced to land, I guess, because he did pick off a couple of them, so there's not a ton left over.
Yeah, now TaeJa's trying to push up here a little bit. Oh, TaeJa getting some units trapped there. The Vikings can't pick him up. That was a little bit rough for TaeJa. Oh, a few Vikings even getting picked off as well. Looks like there's a drop at the natural expansion for First, though.
All right, so yeah, TaeJa trying to do whatever damage he possibly can there, but First actually has that army moving back home. I think TaeJa did recover his bunkers. Yes, he did, but he's going to have that little bit better high ground there.
He did. Man, TaeJa's actually doing a decent amount of damage with this drop. First hasn't been able to really respond. He's going to lose this Archon as well before it finishes, and the probes coming back to mine, but they're going to have to hope those Zealots are able to hold off the forces, and it looks like they will just barely be able to, but nice little drop by TaeJa. That actually worked okay.
Okay, and it's just what he needed right then, too, because he had a pretty big advantage. He got a lot of units trapped by those force fields. It was actually the best possible place that First could have put down those force fields, and afterwards needed a little pick-me-up and got it with that drop.
Yeah, now TaeJa's getting his 4th command center right now. You know, like we've said, like we've seen, too, all day, TaeJa's not afraid to play a long game. I feel like the longer the game goes, the better TaeJa has of a chance to win. So, sending out some drops to different places, pushing ahead with his army. Doesn't really even need to attack here, just needs to keep control of the map and keep First kind of on his toes here. Oh, feedback taking a lot of help out of that medevac.
Yeah, but the High Templar does go down. The drop's going to get cleared up, not too much other damage done, and we'll see. Yeah, it looks like TaeJa actually clearing way for another drop inside of the naturals.
Yep, doing a little bit of damage there, killing off that photon cannon. Picking up, and he does get this medevac away now. TaeJa may be just kind of trying to get his army in position so that he can get First when he's not there, but yeah, First not falling for it just yet. TaeJa scanning to see if he can maybe run up and snipe that Nexus, but not able to quite do it at this point. But again, you know, there's just no hurry really for TaeJa. Oh, that medevac is gone.
Nice feedback there.
The end of that, wow.
Well, TaeJa does have an upgrade advantage over his opponent. It's 2-2 and just +2 armors on the way now for First, so it's a pretty significant upgrade advantage with 3-3 well on the way. But, you know, the army has grown considerably now for First. He's gotten his way right back into this economically and in terms of army. Yeah,
I mean, the big thing is going to come down to who can control their 4th base a little bit longer. I mean, all day long, TaeJa's been winning by draining his opponent of resources over time. You know, we've seen it time and time again in nearly all matchups. He'll trade in a situation where he knows he's got the economic advantage. So First needs to make sure that TaeJa doesn't get to keep a 4th base if he wants to stay in this game from an economic standpoint.
Oh,
First,
wow.
Just going for it. Wow, bold move by our Protoss player. This was not the best idea, I've got a feeling.
Okay, well, Storm hits a couple of units there. Actually does take out quite a few Marines up at the front. And there are still 2 Colossi remaining. Just going to be 1 after this. Yes, it does finally go down. There's still 1 Colossus left over. However, TaeJa has exacted quite a bit of damage onto his opponent's army.
The thing is, TaeJa has such a big army, too, that he's got the time. He can wait this out. He's like, all right, I've killed most of your units. Oh, focusing down that Colossi, and he gets it. Oh, he doesn't get it. Now he gets it. But he's just got a huge army here. The energy is gone for the Templar. TaeJa taking out the rest of the army of I'm First. And are we going to see another shift in momentum?
All right, First loses that army. He's trying to run in with a few more forces. Those Zealots say, nope, heading right back out of there. Not going to be able to get anything done, unfortunately. 4th base finally coming up for First, but it's been well underway for TaeJa.
it's kind of tough to decide to take your fourth base after just giving your opponent your entire army. So TaeJa's going to be able to come down here and take this out, no problem. I'm really surprised, actually, that First decided to go for that. Very, very risky maneuver, and he's paying for it. Kind of like that Marauder. He's just falling to pieces.
All right. There's one Storm. We'll see if any more hit here in a second. He does have a couple of those available, but it's not going to be enough to hold back the entire army. There we go. A few more Templar making their way out, trying to land those perfect Storms, but TaeJa not taking the bait quite yet.
Yeah, man, that's right. And the Storms doing a good job of holding him off for the moment, giving First some time to try to catch up. If he makes a lot of Archons as well, that's going to help too.
Yeah, but pretty much all the energy is gone on the Templar now. They've certainly done their job. They've delayed TaeJa's army for quite a long period of time while the Charizards get in position. There's another Storm, though.
Yeah, that's right. Archon getting taken out. TaeJa's fourth base has been mining for a while now, and First is mining too, but we'll see. Got to be very, very careful here. I mean, the trouble with Charge is that it's easy for Terran sometimes to be able to sort of peel the Zealots off the rest of the Protoss army and then kind of take it out chunk by chunk. So First needs to be very, very careful that his Zealots don't get overzealous, if you will. But here he goes, pushing ahead a little bit. Storms. Oh,
good
not
feedback.
Hitting. Yeah, the feedbacks were good though.
Yeah, he hit those, hit both of the ghosts that were sitting up in the front, but then he counter snipes out two of the Templars. So a pretty even trade. He even gets a third there as well.
Yeah, TaeJa really, really doing well with those ghosts. And the Templar are so expensive right now for First. It's hard to keep replacing those.
All right, well, he's going to be able to pick off gas here. Very nice, especially with First going after... Woo! Yeah, sitting in that Storm for a little while, especially with First going after so many Templar for the time being. TaeJa has another command center finished up. That is his fifth. Looks like he's scouting out to make sure that it's clear to put it here in the top left-hand corner, but Charge Lots are making their way in, and they should be able to see that this is finished, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's also a planetary, too, so these Charge Lots aren't going to do a whole lot. In fact, they're just going to run past. They're like, it doesn't hurt that bad. There we go. Marines, that's what we really wanted to fight.
Yeah.
That one Zealot up at the top, he's like, I totally accidentally ran the wrong direction there. I meant to run with you guys through the planetary fortress fire.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, it was a good effort, though. He's applauding him the whole way.
He fooled me, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dark Shrine is on the way, and we've seen those late-game DTs come in handy quite often from Protoss players. We'll see if it's enough to kind of turn the tide, though. TaeJa once again pressing ahead with about a 30 supply advantage. He does have full upgrades on his ground forces. Looks like 3-2 up for the Protoss player, so not quite finished with his weapons.
Yep, and this fourth base taking some fire now from the high ground. First having to pull back those probes. Once that Dark Shrine does finish, it's going to be kind of nice for him to be able to send some DTs across the map. Cause TaeJa to pay a little bit more attention to things going on at his expansions. Look at this, so TaeJa coming in, taking out those cannons, just kind of preparing for that push a little bit later.
Just making that position so much less defensible as well. I mean, just being able to fight behind the cannons, letting them do their damage uninterrupted. It is a pretty good help, but TaeJa just has such a crushing force now that he's able to go through those. Looks like he wants to go with it right now. Cloaked up Ghost running around the side and is able to pick off a few of the spellcasters there. So this Nexus is a goner.
That's right. He takes out the fourth base, no problem. And TaeJa is very, very close to being able to just roll the victory here. There it does look like some units are coming into his fourth here, but TaeJa microing, splitting well. The Storms have not been terribly effective.
No, and those aren't taking out that many forces either. One Colossus does fall, the second getting very, very low. Still one Viking picking away at those. There's another stim from TaeJa making his way up through the front.
Yeah, there are DTs, I believe, in TaeJa's third and main base right now. He's trying to push ahead with the few units that remain. Is it enough? He's going after the Colossus, and it does go down, but TaeJa left with not much.
All right.
Well, it looks like he did. Okay, DT still in the main. There was one at the third base doing damage as well. Yeah, a lot of SCVs killed by I'm First so far.
That's right. It's 37 workers to 62 at the moment. So TaeJa took a huge amount of economic damage there. Scan does go down to try and take out the Dark Templar, and it does end up falling. Now, finally, we do have that missile turret in position.
This is great. This is so good by First to send in these DTs. It's really, really made the difference in terms of kind of giving him another chance in this game. The other thing, too, is that TaeJa, again, his attack at the third was not efficient by any stretch of the imagination, but he's been doing that sort of attack all day because he always has a strong economy to fall back on, but he just lost a lot of that strong economy right there. So this game, is not over yet. This could still go to first if he plays well.
So even though I think I played this in the micro challenges, but anyway, even though he's down by 29 workers right now, he still does have pretty good economy.
I remember the DT there.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's unfair. You can't do that. Yeah.
Well, if we take the workers out of the equation and overall supply, we see First only has about 20 some odd supply in terms of army. That's pretty much it. That's sitting right there.
Fairly small. Yeah.
TaeJa actually has a huge advantage in that regard, but he just doesn't have the economy. He'll need that here very soon.
Yep, that's right. Does have mules, which does help a little bit, but First going back and starting to recreate that Colossus army again. That Marine is so brave, but wow, so stupid.
Bye-bye.
Oh, well, at least he did see that there was still a third base there. Didn't vanish. Yep.
That's true.
He's got that. Yeah.
There is a fourth down to the bottom right-hand corner, but of course now we see TaeJa taking his fifth. That's a planetary fortress up in the upper left-hand corner, starting to rebuild that worker count ever so slowly, making those 3 at a time for now.
Yep, that's right. The flying V of Terran units coming across down to the bottom right part of the map, and that Colossi almost caught him. Oh, those snipes!
Really well done.
Whoa.
Doesn't even lose a single ghost. Well, now he will because they're up at the front, but still, they did their damage. TaeJa going to continue to try to push on through. He kills the rest of the army. He's going to be able to pick this off from First as well and take out the fourth base down the bottom right-hand corner.
GG!
TaeJa wins again!